Afternoon to everyone who's registered for this webinar. Good afternoon. My name is Sonia Lewis, and thank you so much for attending our TA webinar this afternoon. My name is Sonia Lewis, like I said, and I am the Senior Program Administrator for Opportunity Reboot at Youth Prize. And we have a couple of other people that will be helping us with our presentation today, and I will be making introductions just right now, actually. We have Dr. Rose Chu, who's one of our technical assistance and training consultants, who will be working on this project with us, that will be able to help us with technical assistance and training to our sub-grantees. She will be bringing some information to us. And we also have Dr. Jean Roque-Partain, who is the Vice President of Research and Development for Search Institute. He will, along with Dr. Amy Sievertson, who is with Search Institute as well. They will be talking about the evaluation piece, which is a really critical piece of this project. So to kind of like the purpose or the objective of this webinar will be just to kind of get you as applicants to start thinking a little bit more about evaluation, what that means, talking about the preliminary level of evidence. We're definitely going to go through that in detail, and to kind of get a chance to talk about some of the overall themes that in the proposal development items. And so Dr. Rose Chu will be talking about some of the overall themes that we have discussed, and that was discussed from the review. And we will kind of give these things to you and give you an opportunity to kind of think about those things, so that when we are in the information sessions, you will have probably a lot of questions and some things to bring to the table. So we definitely want to give you, this will be kind of packed with information. So I hope that you've got a pen and paper and be ready to take down some notes. As far as like some housekeeping items, you do have a Q&A button on your navigation screen that you'll be able to post some questions and type some questions up. And we will give you opportunities to be able to send some questions to us as well after the webinar, and we'll be able to kind of answer any further questions. And next we will have, now for the order of the webinar, we will go through, Dr. Rose Chu will come up first, and then we will have Dr. Roque-Partain come up next. And both him and Dr. Sievertson will be talking about the evaluation, and I will be closing at the end. So without further ado, here's Dr. Rose Chu.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rose Chu, and I'm very grateful to be working on the Opportunity Reboot project. So, so this is the context. We review 43 letters of intent for the project, and we had a very good discussion around what are some themes that came up, and we wanted to make sure that when you write the proposal, hopefully by now you all know that you're moving forward to apply for the proposal, that you keep some of these things in mind. So how do I see here? Here you go. So, and I actually have one more bullet that I didn't put down there. One of the first bullet that I'll mention that's not on there, and we can fix it up to make sure it's on there, is to make sure that you are very clear on your population, your target population. How do you reach them? How do you intentionally recruit them? And because this is not a project for you to do what you already are doing, that what does it mean to include or intentionally reach out to the opportunity youth as defined in the RFP. So that would be the first bullet that I would say. And so the second bullet or second theme that we notice is to make sure that while we are talking about career pathway, the framework for career pathways, make sure that one of the reasons this is a very, in a lot of ways, special initiative is that we want to integrate youth development perspectives, whether it is service learning, mentoring, or ways to think about what does it mean to make sure we include emotional and social development of our youth, so that it's not so much that we're going to make sure they have skills and that's it. So really pay attention to that. And some of you talked about that. So be very intentional about that in your proposal. Then the third point, not the second, the third point is also think of our population, think of our youth from an asset model instead of a deficit model. Again, this is not actually in our proposal, so we are giving you some things to think about how do you approach this, not as kind of like, well, the problems with our youth, so let's go fix them, let's go save them, but really think about they bring a lot of assets with them. What is it that we are doing from a systemic standpoint to reach to them, to lift them up, to lift up their skills, what they bring, their experiences. So think of it from an asset base, okay? And then the next point that we were noticing a theme that we want to highlight so that you can be stronger in your proposal is the idea that the practices and the strategies that you will develop in your program design really speak to being responsive to the culture of our youth. Culture, broadly speaking, not just racially, it could be linguistically, it could be the fact that they are first generation. So what are those practices and strategies in your program design to make sure that you're responsive to them? What are their identity development, for example? That's another way, right? Who are they? Do they know who they are? Do they have a strong understanding of who they are as they think about who they want to be, and be trained and be technically trained and be reconnected to education, reconnected to the workforce, okay? Another very important point, we saw some gaps and hopefully it will get very well developed in the proposal, are the K-12 and post-secondary partners. If we are talking about reconnecting, re-engaging our opportunity youth, what does it mean to make sure that our school system, whatever districts that they are going to be connected to are engaged in this project? They are authentic partners to this project. And then if we are trying to make sure that they also have some of the credentialing so that they feel like, oh, this is why I'm taking credits in math, that they are doing something towards some career pathways that we are connected to post-secondary partners, whether it's a technical college or the 2-year community college. I think that's an important partner to have, among other partners that we also want to make sure you have. And most of you have many of the partners in community services, or some of you definitely connect with some of the youth development partners too. Then the final point I would say is evaluation. If you read the RFP carefully, is that evaluation is a big deal. And that's the focus of the rest of our webinar here, that you cannot think of evaluation at the end of your program design, but at the beginning of the program design and along the way. And so this is a great segue to the next section of our webinar as to what does that look like and what do you need to do that. So thank you. Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Rose, for that, and thank you, Sonia, for getting us going here. I'm Gene Wilkie-Partain from Search Institute, and we are very excited to be the evaluation partner for the Operation Reboot. And so, Opportunity Reboot. Is it Opportunity Reboot? Okay, I'm still learning. Thank you. So I'm glad to be with my colleague, Amy Sievertson. We will walk through some of our initial thoughts on where the evaluation is and how it fits into your proposals as you're developing your applications. So I'll provide a bit of the context, and Amy will address some of the keys that you can look to in terms of building a successful evaluation capacity and plan as part of your application. So just to reiterate what Rose has already said, is evaluation is a big deal to the Social Innovation Fund, as a particularly important factor in their decision and criteria to support this particular initiative. And we've heard very clearly that they want to build a stronger evidence base as a core feature, a stronger evidence base for social improvement in the social sector as a core feature of the Social Innovation Fund. So as we'll be discussing, thinking through the evaluation part of your proposal, the level of evidence you already have, and the kind of evidence you're willing and eager to build as part of this work is a key feature of the process. Because of this emphasis, we'll be working very closely with CNCS, Corporation for National Community Service, and its national evaluation partner, American Institutes for Research, to really shape the evaluation together. And AIR was just recently named the evaluation partner, so we have not had a chance to connect directly with them yet. But we fully anticipate that we'll be engaging with them pretty heavily in guiding and shaping our work and the work of our subgrantees around evaluation. So because this is an active partnership with our colleagues in DC, subgrantees and we will be expected to have a lot of give and take, a lot of responsiveness and sort of building this together, co-creating the evaluation together so that it both meets the needs of the local programs and Opportunity Reboot and the federal Social Innovation Fund goals and requirements. And that's really all of these pieces coming together is what we will be working on together. So getting specifically to our work here at Search Institute and what we bring to all of this, those of you who know Search Institute know that we do have a strong focus on positive youth development. So in addition to our commitment to high quality evaluation and research, Search Institute offers this program some evaluation tools and perspectives that can inform the initiative from a positive youth development perspective. And some of this already reflects what Rose has already shared. Like Youth Prize, Search Institute has deep expertise in positive youth development, and for the 25 years we've been part of the national movement to really recognize young people as having strength and resilience even in the face of the challenges they face. We see core strengths that young people have in themselves and that they need in their families and communities as being foundational to all other aspects of their lives, including their education and their work. And so Opportunity Reboot, I will get this before this grant is over. Opportunity Reboot brings youth development focus to the available technical assistance as well as measurement tools that are going to be fairly unique in the field to integrating youth development and relationships into the overall evaluation. Specifically, we will first work to understand the dynamics of each subgrantees and then work with you to develop measures of both the soft skills or character skills that needed to be intentionally developed within the programs and linking those to workforce and educational outcomes. And so the goal is to look at how these things fit together to really make a difference for kids' development and their getting back reconnected with the opportunities that are available in Minnesota for them. Through that process, Search Institute really does valuable multiple forms of data. So we'll have survey data, we'll be looking at administrative data that you'll have access to, and we'll be collecting qualitative data and really understanding young people's experiences in your programs in a way that inform what we do. Through all of that, we're both looking at trying to understand the impact and the evidence of increased impact, as well as using the data for improvement. So we're looking for partners that are really eager both to show what they're doing and is having an impact, and are not content with what they're already doing, but want to continuously improve and strengthen their programs over time. And so that's really showing evidence of that in your proposal will be part of what will help you stand out from the crowd. And showing your willingness to collaborate with us and learn with us and with Social Innovation Fund will also help you stand out in the crowd. So those are some general thoughts on sort of where evaluation fits, how we're approaching evaluation, and some core things we're looking for. Now Amy is going to walk through very specifically some of the features that are required by CNCS and Social Innovation Fund, and to make sure that you've got a strong evaluation component in your proposal.
Sorry, sound is changed. Hi, thank you, Jean. So to prepare a successful evaluation capacity and plan section, applicants need to demonstrate 4 key elements: preliminary evidence of program effectiveness, a strong collaborative commitment to increasing the level of evidence of your program's effectiveness at strengthening opportunity youth social-emotional skills for workforce readiness. Third, a readiness to engage in a rigorous multi-year, multi-method evaluation, and the capacity to collect and utilize data for continuous program improvement. So let's take a closer look at what we'll specifically be looking at as we evaluate each of these elements. So as Jean mentioned earlier, the Social Innovation Fund mechanism is intended for innovations that already have some type of research or evaluation that has shown positive results and are ready for a more substantial evaluation. Thus, all applicants must meet or exceed the Social Innovation Fund's requirement of having preliminary evidence. But what does that mean? Preliminary evidence means you have empirical data that suggests that your program has promising results. This data can be from your organization or a similar organization doing a similar but not identical intervention. There are several ways to meet the requirement for preliminary evidence. So for example, you might already have data from your organization about the intervention that you're focusing on in your Opportunity Reboot proposal. If this data includes pre-test and post-test data and involves a comparison group, you've likely met this requirement. However, the data does not necessarily have to come from your organization or collaboration. So as another example, you can also draw on data from a different organization doing a similar but not identical intervention to establish preliminary evidence of the program model's effectiveness. In this case, the Social Innovation Fund requires that the data from the other organization include, at a minimum, a quasi-experimental design. And of course, these are just 2 of several ways to show preliminary evidence. So to determine whether you meet the criteria for preliminary evidence, we'll be sharing via an email after this webinar a copy of the rubric for determining the incoming level of evidence. And our team is also willing to talk to you one-on-one once you've reviewed the rubric and assessed the data you have available. The second key element to the evaluation capacity and plan section is demonstrating commitment. So in the full proposal, applicants need to clearly state the value, interest, and commitment of your collaboration to increasing the program's level of evidence. This commitment is also demonstrated by dedicating at least 10% of the overall budget to evaluation costs. So questions you might consider when preparing to address the issue of commitment include, why are you eager to integrate empirically informed improvement strategies and metrics into your existing program? Why is evidence valuable to your organization, the youth you serve, and external stakeholders? You might also think about how your organization can demonstrate your commitment to evaluation and how you've previously used data as part of continuous improvement. The third key element of the evaluation capacity and plan section is demonstrating readiness to be an active partner in a rigorous evaluation. In this section, we encourage applicants to draw on previous evaluation experience as well as your current preparations. So questions you might consider when thinking about demonstrating readiness are things like, how is your collaboration prepared or preparing to participate in a rigorous evaluation? Also, what documentation can you provide to demonstrate your readiness? So you might include previous evaluation reports, a matrix of data reporting components completed by your organization, or a sample internal data report. And there's a section at the end of the application where you can upload these supplemental materials for review as part of your application. The fourth element we'll be looking for in the evaluation capacity and plan section is the capacity of the applicant to leverage high-quality human, physical, and data resources and capacities to conduct the evaluation. This will include everything from the skill sets and capacities of key partners to existing data collection systems. So as you're preparing to demonstrate capacity, you might think about how your organization has worked successfully with third-party evaluators previously. You might also address what systems you already have in place for measuring outputs and outcomes within and across your programs or across your partners? Also, what experience does your organization have collecting, analyzing, and reporting on data? So building on what Jean and Rose have said previously, a strong application will demonstrate both in the narrative and by providing supporting evidence how all four of these key elements have been addressed. So I will turn it back to Sonia for some closing remarks.
Well, I'm pretty sure that your head is kind of spinning right now with all of the information that you have been listening to and that you've been reading. Dealing with that, I did have a question that was posted. Will this PowerPoint be available after the webinar? And the answer is yes, it will. We will have the PowerPoint available, as well as this webinar is being recorded, and it will be uploaded it will be added onto the Opportunity Reboot web page on our youthprize.org website. It should be posted within a day or two at max. So just be looking out for the PowerPoint, as well as the link to the webinar, as it will be recorded. We want to thank you for working with us and for being in this webinar with us and participating. We just want to kind of remind you of a couple of things of what's next. The information sessions, you should have by now received an email according to the region that you are from. We will be having a series of a number of information sessions in Twin Cities and in Greater Minnesota between November 18th and 24th. We will just have a general session, and we will kind of go into depth a little bit about the points that Dr. Chu had mentioned in her part of the presentation, followed by optional 30-minute one-on-one consultations with organizations. What we decided to do was be a little bit more informal. Instead of having organizations to sign up or to schedule for the one-on-one consultations, we're making it totally optional. You may, in the general session, you may find that whatever the information that you needed, you received in that general information session. But if you feel like you need to have a little bit more, if there are some further questions, if there is just some things that are kind of in your head and you can't seem to get it out, that you wanted to have some questions answered, we are going to stick around for at least an hour for 30-minute one-on-one consultations, probably a little bit longer than that. Especially in Greater Minnesota, especially outstate, we really want to make sure that that we connect with the organizations in Greater Minnesota. So definitely after the general session, which will be a couple of hours, but after that, if you have any other questions we will definitely be willing to stick around and be able to have a conversation with you regarding some specific things to your program if you have any further questions. And just as a reminder, the full proposal deadline is due, your proposals, are due Friday, January 8th, 2016. So if you have any other questions regarding that, we would definitely send me an email or give me a call, and I will do my best to answer your question. And we would definitely want to continue to have this dialogue with you. Looks like there are a couple of other questions that are coming up. There was a question that was asked, out of the 43 letters of intent that were submitted, how many are moving onto the proposal stage? So I think I'm not sure if we're going to really be able to answer that one particularly, but we looked at it, and upon the review, we just saw that there were a lot of strong applicants, and we want to make sure that everyone is able to be, we wanted to be able to make sure that everyone is going forward and being able to make sure and get that strong proposal in. We saw a lot of them out there. Definitely, we had lots of conversations, and there were definitely a lot out there. So we definitely wanted to make sure that the people who have the strong proposals out there and who are eligible according to the guidelines, that they will get a chance to submit a full proposal. It looks like another question that has been asked is, where will the general information meeting be held? And they are holding the date but have not seen the location posted yet. Now, depending on where you're from, we had a little bit of an issue with the St. Paul location, trying to secure a St. Paul location. We finally did. It will be held at the New Student Center at the Metropolitan State University in St. Paul. But there were some emails that were sent out confirming those dates. If you have not received any information regarding those, please send me an email. We came across a system kind of glitch that kind of it defaults to the CEO or the primary contact being the CEO or the executive director of an organization. So there were a number of people who received information, received the emails, but they were sent to the CEO or the executive director instead. So so I have received several emails and several phone calls about, I didn't get an application, I didn't see a letter. Just let me know if you have not received anything. Please feel free to send me an email and I will definitely forward those things on to you. I still have them. It's just that it was just kind of like a primary contact thing that we will be able to fix in our system. If you have any questions, feel free to call me about that. One more question. It looks like there's this question that says, the link to the proposal takes me to the LOI rather than the proposal. Will this be repaired soon? Yes, it will. I've only received one other call about that, but we will definitely look into our system and we will be able to make those repairs as soon as possible. Actually, we will get that done within the hour. So the person who asked that question, if you could just give me a call or send me an email and let me know, and we will continue to keep in contact with each other, and I'll let everyone know when things are up and running, because that should not be happening. Again, we want to be able to encourage all potential partners to come to the technical assistance our information workshops. We feel that it's very important that not just the program staff, but also your partners attend as well. I think there will be some information that will be good for everyone there. So we want to make sure that that we want to really encourage everyone that will be a part of your program to be able to attend this information session. Like I said, if there's anyone who needs to have more information about their location and they haven't received it, or they didn't receive a forwarded email from their executive director or their president, please feel free to email me and I can forward that information to you. Thank you very much. This is the end. Actually, this is the end of our webinar. We want to again thank you very, very much for allowing us the opportunity to give you a little bit more information about Opportunity Reboot and how you can be able to go forward with putting forth your applications, your full applications. Thank you very much and have a great rest of your day.